Hey guys, welcome to October. Welcome to Spooky Month. This is first episode. It's Yappertisers episode, whatever we're up to. Today we're doing a really interesting story that producer Caitlyn loves. This is the Conjuring house. Isn't that right, producer Caitlyn? Oh
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
Oh shit. I'm taking this off too because I can't fucking see anything.
Yeah, I couldn't see anything either. Generally, I couldn't.
Welcome to Spooky Month. We're being spooky, hence the background.
Yeah.
Corey's still here. We've got Corey, don't worry.
Cody's still dead.
Cody is still dead from last week.
We have our interim.
Yeah, Corey.
Oh, yeah, Corey.
Corey,
Corey, say hi.
Who's doing well. Thanks, Corey. Yeah, so that's why we're in costume. Well, I'm not yet, but I will be in Skeddycast. And yippee! All right, let's go.
All right. Well, start off. Welcome to the spooky season. As a spooky goyle, how does Gru say it? Goyle.
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 Gorals.
Coral.
Goral. That sounds like he's saying Laurel. Yanny. Laurel.
I was more doing coral from The Walking Dead.
Yeah. Coral.
Coral.
Coral. Yeah.
Anyways, spooky season, we've got a couple of episodes planned. This is episode 1 of the Oktoberfest that we're doing, which is diving into the Conjuring house.
Because we love horror in this house.
We love horror. I'm pretty much the one who really instilled horror in you. Because I am a terrifying woman. To start off, do you know about the Conjuring story?
I've seen the movies. Thank you. Do
you know I had to explain to him that Annabelle, the Nun,
you
and
didn't
Conjuring
have to explain it to
was
me.
the same
I know
universe?
they're in the same universe. I just tried to argue that they're different franchises.
If it has Ed and Lorraine Warren mentioned, therefore it's the same thing. But you have no idea about the real life story?
I know roughly the story of the real Ed and Lorraine Warren.
Yeah.
Somewhat, which briefly mentions this. Didn't really get much further into it.
Okay.
This dimwit has no idea. He hasn't even seen the movies.
He's not seen the Conjuring movies?
Corey hasn't. I think Cody has.
I went to cinema to watch these as a kid. Probably shouldn't have, but I was probably about 13 when the first one came out. I was too young to go watch in cinemas, but I had someone who took me. And then I was old enough to see the second one by myself. And because I was a little bit sick then, this is like the story I remember. I was with my girlfriends at the time. And they were giggling and laughing because obviously teenagers in a horror movie. So funny. This grown bodybuilder man, I wasn't giggling or laughing. I had to keep leaving to blow my nose because I was that sick. He threw a whole bottle of water at me, like squeezed it all out on me. And we had to call like security being like, this guy like threw water on me. Like, I don't feel safe leaving this venue. Like,
yeah, Jesus.
He was a bodybuilder. I was fucking terrified. Yeah.
That's fun.
But have you seen both the first and the second one? Because they're the only good ones.
I've seen all 9 of these fucking ass movies.
Are you of the opinion that the first one's better or the second one's better?
Second one. By a landslide. The one scene with the painting trumps every scene in the first movie, in my humble opinion. Yeah, your scene. No.
That is the most fucking terrifying thing in the world.
The first one's good. That scene's great. But then it, like, right after that, they have the stupid soccer ball jump scare. I thought that was really funny. Like, the thing comes flying out of the piano and it looks really dumb.
No, because there's not many slides, but I have to explain everything beforehand. This story isn't what it seems. It starts with a nearly 300-year-old home that was just any other farmhouse until 2013, when the franchise started filming The Conjuring, which unfolded the story of the Perron family at the Rhode Island family home, which they lived there in the 1970s, and their battle with the malevolent spirits inhabiting the house. Before we get into that, like, do you believe in ghosts? Spirits?
Sometimes.
Demons?
No. I'm kind of tight with them, though. Me and Satan go way back.
You and Jojo Siwa?
Yeah. Wait. No, not really. I don't know. I haven't had any experiences with them personally, so I can't. I'm way more of a logical thinker. Like, if I've had a thing with it, then I'll be like, okay, maybe.
Yeah.
But I am very much fascinated by all of this shit.
Fascinating. I'm of the opinion where I believe there could be something out there. I would like to believe there's something out there, but until I see something,
yeah, same as
I'm not going to follow it.
Yeah, same.
Because the only experience I have with any sort of like supernatural thing is like, what do you call it when someone's experiencing it, but you want to experience it, but they're telling you? I don't remember what it's called. By something.
Bystanding?
Not bystanding, something like that. But I know my mum has had instances with the supernatural.
Yeah, so has my mum.
Yeah, but never me.
I had like a really weird religious one, if that counts.
No, religion doesn't count.
I don't know.
Last yap.
I don't know. They could be a spirit
Click back
too.
to the last yap about religion.
Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. Go watch it, or is this knife's going in your face?
Jesus. All right. And ever since they started filming, the house has been called one of the most haunted places in America. The Conjuring and the subsequent Conjuring universe of films has drawn thousands of tourists to the quiet corner of Rhode Island along the Massachusetts line. Don't ask me to pronounce that again. Other than just being called the Conjuring House,
It's the chair.
The house was famously called beforehand the Old Arnold Estate.
Famous for, Arnold Schwarzenegger, who used to live there, of course.
I was thinking Arnold Biscuits, but two very different
Or the
minds.
Nickelodeon show Hey Arnold. Also, obviously, notoriously filmed there, yeah. Anyway.
Don't listen to Riley.
What?
All right, a little backstory.
But I'm funny.
In 1736, Dexter Richardson built the house which was deemed Old Brook Farm, but through the years it eventually was called the Old Arnold Estate. But in January of 1971, the Perron family bought and moved into the 14-room historic house which included 200 acres of property. A 14-room historic house.
That's really big.
It's quite big.
200 acres too.
The family included Roger and Carolyn, the parents, and their 5 daughters, Andrea, Christine, Nancy, Cindy, and April. I nearly said Sydney.
The New South Wales capital, Sydney.
I thought you were talking Sydney Sweeney.
Everyone's
about her all
current
day.
crush, Sydney Sweeney.
Yes. All right, at first, everything was great, but there was one thing that had them rattled. As they were getting the keys, the man that sold them the house said one thing: leave the light on at night. And since then, it didn't take long for things to start happening. It began with little things: unexplainable creaks, moans, and sudden slamming of doors and windows.
That could just be the wind.
By the way, that is the Perron family. So that's the 5 daughters and the parents.
Oh, the one in the middle is also a daughter.
Yeah.
She's just older, right? Okay, yep.
She's just got a dingo one.
Yeah.
Carolyn frequently noticed things disappearing and moving, as well as the scraping of metal on metal from the kettle on the stovetop.
Fire-ass rap lyric.
Jesus. She would be the only one in the house when this would happen. Quote from Cindy. You're going to hear a lot of quotes from Cindy and Andrea. I believe they're the ones that actually wrote books about it, their experience. A lot of the other girls don't talk too much about it.
Fair.
But quote from Cindy: things would either be moved all around in a different position than how I left them, or they would all be shoved up underneath the bed. And I would go to my sisters, of course you'd go to your sisters, and ask, hey, what'd you do to my toys? And they'd say nothing. Why would I mess with your toys, Sydney? No one discussed any of these events until much later. Andrea had reported also she had had disturbing experience. She was woken many times by her siblings who were distraught, especially Cindy. Cindy claimed that she could hear whispering within the house, quote, there are 7 dead soldiers in the walls, over and over. Through my investigation, that was actually found out to be true. There were 7 soldiers that died on the property, all buried together in a small patch in the forest, and no one reported it. Until they found out later on. Thank you, Sam and Colby, who go there like every year.
Of course they do.
And help us out. All right. All 5 sisters seemed to think that their house was alive with spirits, but not all of them were scary.
This would be so cool to visit. Oh no, not that fucker. I know that fucker.
You can visit this place. They do
it'd be on
tours.
Airbnb, yeah.
They do tours all the time. Tours. Who's that in the back?
100,000 subscribers, and we'll go.
I need a full-time job before that.
100,000 subscribers and more.
Thank you. All right. They had apparently befriended one spirit called Manny.
Ah, the fucker from Diary of a Wimpy Kid.
Oh, God. Cindy, quote, "When we first moved into the house, for the first 2 months, there was a woman. She came and kissed me every night on the forehead, and I thought it was my mother."
Bit weird.
Andrea added, "Mum smelled like ivory soap, and the spirit smelled like flowers and fruit." From what the movie shows, some spirits were more threatening. There was a spirit that would wail for its mother, and at exactly 5:15 a.m., their beds would be lifted by an unseen force. The smell of rotting flesh would permeate through the home and apparitions. In August of 1977, in the Province Journal, Carolyn woke before dawn and saw an apparition. There was a woman with her head leant to one side, wearing an old grey dress. The woman stared straight into Carolyn and repeated, "Get out, get out. I'll drive you out with death and gloom."
Love that. Love that for her. That's interesting. I see, that's the shit I don't believe. Like, there's no part that's gonna make my bed float. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's the stuff, like the actual full-on...
The whispering and like the chills down the spine. That's fair. That's something that I could see happening. But like, I'm not in The Exorcist. My bed's not floating, and a little demon girl's not gonna call my mom
You're not Regan?
a slur. No, I'm not, unfortunately.
Fuck me.
No, she was a child. I will not partake.
Oh God. All right. All these incidents were becoming too much for the family.
You've got Ouija boards in the house, you donuts.
So Carolyn started to investigate. Did you not peep in the back there?
The Annabelle doll.
Yep.
It was also in the last frame.
In the house, there are so many Annabelle dolls.
That's fucked up.
Because they did that, like now the owners of the estate run all these tours and stuff. They put Annabelle dolls, Ouija boards,
That's
everything
cool,
in there.
though. That's kind of sick. If
So,
it wasn't in America, I would go.
Yeah. So Carolyn started to investigate. She discovered that the property at one point had been owned by the same family for 8 generations. And many of the members died of freak and unusual circumstances. This includes things like drowning, murder, and suicides. Andrea later said some of them never really left. The Black Book of Burrillville, the town's former public records book, reveals that over the course of its existence, the property had been host to 2 suicides by hanging, 1 by poison, the rape and murder of an 11-year-old Prudence Arnold by a family hand, 2 drownings, and the passing of 4 men who froze to death, in addition to many other tragic losses. God, I can't feel my feet. I'm so sorry. Give me 2 seconds. I keep moving around.
Are you sitting cross-legged?
I can't feel my toes. All right. However, Prudence's case has skeptics. Apparently, records suggest she died in Massachusetts, further along the border, which meant she didn't die on the farm. Because remember, the farm's in Rhode Island.
Yeah, it's nearby, but it's not
Massachusetts, not far. Which meant she didn't die on the farm. Some suspect it was changed to help the estate feel more haunted. But alas, the Perron family could not move. Even with all this new information, they had unfortunately spent all their money on this house. So the ghosts and the spirits from then on became violent and much worse. The woman spirit known as Bathsheba Sherman was responsible for glass shattering and objects being thrown across the rooms. This spirit seemed to hate Carolyn.
Typical Bathsheba activities.
It's like a phasmophobia thing.
You got the spirit box, like, are you with us? Shut up.
One night, Carolyn said she was sitting in the living room when she felt a piercing pain in her leg. She had looked down and saw what looked to be an almost stab-like wound. There was blood trickling down her leg as if it was caused by a blade or a sharp needle. Andrea said that this spirit was perceived to be the mistress of the house and caused competition between them and Carolyn. Bathsheba tormented Carolyn for many years. The torture was both emotional and physical. She, meaning Carolyn, also felt drained and exhausted at all times when they were in the house. But on the other side, the spirit was kind to Roger, Claims suggested that Bathsheba had a sweeter side towards Roger, like giving him soft caresses and intended innuendos. And this spirit is what inspired the film writers for the movie. She was Hollywood material, but not many people know that she was a real person. Apparently this picture does have Bathsheba Sherman in it.
That one?
Apparently this woman here is Bathsheba.
Huh.
Apparently.
Is she... I don't remember. Is she the one who hangs herself on the tree out the back? Yeah, okay.
Which we'll get into.
I just remember that one scene from the movie. Hey, look, there she is.
Bathsheba Sherman was born in 1812 in Rhode Island and married Judson Sherman in 1844. Judson worked on the land while Bathsheba stayed at home with their son Herbert, who was born in 1849. Reports say there were 3 other sons, all of whom died before they were 7, but there aren't any accurate records to corroborate this story. An unofficial family tree record, however, claims that Bathsheba and Judson's children, Julia, born in 1845, Edward, born 1847, and George, born in 1853, had died before the census. So technically they didn't exist.
Yeah, Jesus.
Despite the quiet lives they had, they were often the talk of the town. The town claimed she practiced witchcraft or dark arts and felt it was confirmed after a baby died under her supervision under suspicious circumstances.
Fair, yeah.
When an autopsy was completed on the baby, the medical examiner found there was evidence that at the base of the baby's head, they had been pierced by something long and sharp. A needle or blade of some sort. Same with Carolyn.
Interesting.
Claims said it was by a large sharp object, like a sewing needle, as part of a satanic ritual. The town gossiped about this news and claimed Bathsheba was part of the occult. So the townspeople wanted action to be taken, therefore the court took action.
I was gonna say, this is the time where she would immediately have just been put to the stake and burnt.
Well, the Salem witch trials was like 100 years before that. I think it was the 1600s, the Salem witch trials.
Weren't they still trying to hunt down as many witches as they could back then?
I mean, it's the 1800s. Women were not treated equal, regardless.
That was not the joke I was about to make. I'm just going to keep myself quiet.
But with no evidence supporting these claims, it was quickly ruled out. However, the townspeople still believe she sacrificed the baby for satanic purposes. Mm-hmm. On May 25th, 1885, Bathsheba passed. There were claims that she turned to stone when she passed, or she passed by an unexplained paralysis, but no one truly knows. Bathsheba's grave is at the historic Baptist Cemetery in downtown Harrisville, Rhode Island. With that in mind, because of the lack of evidence of her satanic rituals, some believe she wasn't the spirit in the house haunting the family. Bathsheba never actually lived in that estate, rather she lived on a nearby farm. But some speculate that the bad spirit was a woman known as Mrs. John Arnold, who killed herself in the farm's barn.
Oh, okay.
However, this argument can be thrown out.
Never mind.
The only Mrs. John Arnold passed in the 19th century, specifically in 1866, she committed suicide in her own home a mile away from the house. The link between the farm and Bathsheba has never been proven. It was only a suggestion made by 2 very famous paranormal investigators.
I wonder who they are.
Who is that?
That's not Patrick Wilson.
Nor Vera.
Amiga.
Ed and Lorraine Warren. They saw potential and couldn't pass up this opportunity to investigate the strange house. In the film, Carolyn reaches out, but it was actually a family friend who contacted them. Andrea said, quote, "We never actually contacted the Warrens. Our friend, Barbara," I think that's incorrect, but could have been Barbara, went to see them in Putnam because they did things all around the area. They were informed about us. The Warrens made multiple trips there for the over 10 years the family lived in the house. Unlike what the film shows, they weren't much help. The hide and clap game was allegedly much worse in real life. The girls in real life did play this game and had many variations of the hide and seek game. The horrible incident happened 6 months after moving into the home. Cindy decided to hide in the woodshed. She climbed into a wood box and pulled the lid over top, not to be found. Then she suddenly found she couldn't move it back off. She screamed for someone to remove it and panicked. For 20 minutes, she was stuck in there until Nancy could take it off. After hearing of this experience, the Warrens claimed it was Bathsheba who was haunting the family. Carolyn had shared her injury with them and that Bathsheba had done something similar to a child. They also claimed Bathsheba sacrificed her daughter's life for a satanic sacrifice, establishing black rituals to stay on the property. Right now, Ed and Lorraine Warren are like, oh, that makes sense. Oh, that makes sense.
Here comes the money.
Exactly. As much as, you know, being a paranormal activity, like, investigator, like, people need that, like a grief therapy sort of thing.
It's kind of a really scummy profession because it's entirely just
leeching off people's grief
and going, yeah, no, this is what it is. It's just closure at the end of the day. It's made up closure to get them to go, yeah, I guess.
Whereas the films paint them out to be such good people when they're not.
It's Patrick Wilson, I have to like him.
They also claim Bathsheba hung herself on the property, which explains the spirit Carolyn had seen, which is the one you just asked about.
Yeah,
In the film, the Warrens were successful in removing the spirit from the Perrons. However, in real life, they weren't helpful.
Yeah, sounds about right.
They reportedly conducted a few seances, and on one occasion, Carolyn allegedly became possessed by a spirit of Bathsheba and began to speak in tongues and levitate.
Bullshit.
Which, you know, comes to the climax of that film, that's their portrayal. From that point on, the girls were banned from the room during these seances. Andrea wrote, I thought I was going to pass out. My mother was speaking a language from out of this world and a voice not her own. Her chair levitated and she was thrown across the room. Cindy was also hiding with Andrea, who was a witness. Cindy, quote, the Warrens tried to help, but we essentially found things got worse around them. After this incident, Roger threw the Warrens out and banned them from the property. Quote from Roger when he was 77, just before he passed. She, meaning Carolyn, was possessed. Her entire body was distorted and it lasted several hours till they demonized her. And then I threw the Warrens out for good. The Perrons endured all this fear until 1980 when Roger and Carolyn could finally sell the estate and move to Georgia. All right, any questions? I know there's much more to this story, but like, I think after they moved a couple years later, I think Roger and Carolyn actually split up. Like, they're not together anymore. Obviously, they're not here with us anymore. Now, yeah. But
it's interesting. Like, obviously, the movie changes things to be a movie and to be entertaining. It's a good movie. It's such a cool case of, like, I want to know, like, if this was, I just wish we had shit like this nowadays. Yeah. Where there was still, not evidence, but, like, cases, and there might be, I just might not know about them, where people go, oh yeah, this was happening. Because that would be so cool to see if that is actually real. Like, someone levitating and speaking in random language. But also, on the other hand, like, it's, I don't know, I don't believe in that stuff. I believe in half of it. Like, if there is a spirit that's stuck around because it's, I don't know, it's got unfinished business or whatever. Yeah. Good for it, but I don't know. It's interesting. What about you, Corey? Whoa. Oh, yeah. A little advanced there, Corey. Calm down.
Jeez.
I know Cody wants that, but
I think we need to discuss further employment with him.
Yeah, I think we might have to let him go after this week.
Workplace harassment.
Yeah, it's fine. I can just later.
But yeah, anything you want more clarity on, or like?
So they just, like, once they left the property, that was just kind of it. Yeah, like, no one really.
I believe it was left unhoused for a little bit, but then they've had a couple of different owners. But since then, they've obviously marketed it. At the moment, it's just a tour house now. Yeah, I think it's a gentleman and his wife that's running it, but they also have a couple in there who perform ghosty things.
Yeah, okay.
Have you seen the Sam and Colmy video where they actually pull them together? No. What the couple does, they hold hands and they can communicate with the ghost with knocks. Uh-huh. But the couple stands still. They don't move, they don't do anything. And it's the woman that always talks.
Yeah.
He doesn't speak. He's just like a conduit. And apparently they get messages from the
So
graveyard.
she's like the median and he's the ground.
They
back
are
to
essentially
the
the
real
next
world.
Ed and Lorraine Warren in that
Love
house.
that. Love that. That's cool.
I think it's a little bit of a scam, but
Yeah, everything is.
Sam
It's
and
like
Colby
fortune
really did
tellers.
try to dunk them.
They're the ghost hunting people, yeah.
Not ghost hunting. They like to visit haunted places and like
Did they used
investigate.
to do BuzzFeed stuff? Or am I
They
thinking
could have
of someone
I wasn't
else?
early fans of theirs. I'm more recently.
Yeah, I think they might have been on BuzzFeed.
Like I've seen their Conjuring ones. I think they did the Whaley estate. That's the woman that kept building and building and building her house. So she has like random staircases to like doors and like hallway of windows. Like that's actually a really cool case as well. Maybe.
Part 2.
Maybe.
Part 2. Maybe we'll do a sequel.
But yeah.
Anyway, nice little short and sweet one.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this one because it was just information overload.
Yeah,
where I
it's
could
just
just talk
straightforward.
and give you a story rather than like discuss.
It's straightforward.
Yeah. Like we had the same thing with the gypsy case. Where you had a couple of questions, but it was pretty straightforward.
Yeah, whereas the Mormon Wives one, there was a lot to talk
There's
about.
a lot. There's probably going to be
Lot
like
to
a 40, 50 minute episode if I'm being honest.
I think we ended it with like an hour and 10.
Yeah,
Uncut.
we can cut that.
Yeah, 100%. There was also the piss montage.
Okay, I took my mic off for that, so...
Yeah, good, because I don't want to have to listen to that while I'm editing it at like 2 a.m.
Me neither. Anyways, thank you for tuning into the first October episode for the whole bowl. My
Many more
episode's
to
first,
come.
right?
Huh?
My episode's first?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Many more to come.
Yeah.
Get excited. We're going to do a bunch of spooky themed episodes on the whole bowl this week. So Skeddycast, Showdown, except the first Showdown for October is going to be unrelated because it had to be pushed back a week.
Yeah.
So if you see this on the same day as the Hot Ones one, enjoy. Hopefully that's out by the time you see this.
Watch this one, then watch Hot Ones.
Yeah.
And then come back here.
And then come back here and
Yeah.
finish this video.
And then go check out the playlist. Go listen to a couple other
Exactly.
yaps.
We've got the playlist for all 3 shows. You've got time.
Yeah.
You've got time. All of them are there.
But don't forget, we have a podcast.
We do. It's
every
called
Saturday.
Skeddycast. Every Saturday at 9 a.m.
Yeah.
Australian Eastern Standard Time. First episode of that of Halloween will be going up on Saturday. The Saturday after you see this.
And you know
Hopefully.
what? It's all about me, baby.
It is. It's the big one.
As the self-proclaimed horror queen.
You get to hear both of our horror opinions.
Yeah.
And spoiler alert, we do not agree.
No.
There is a lot we do not agree on.
Mine are very valid. Mine's more valid than yours.
No, disagree.
Anyways.
Anyway, see you later, guys. Have fun. Enjoy your day.
Make sure you pray. Subscribe!